understand how to do that.
Okay, so I see couple of questions regarding responses, rebuttals, motions. Are there any other questions? Let's see. Varnika?
Ma'am, actually, I don't have any question. I just wanted to tell that what are we gonna do
Yeah,
in,
what are we going to do? Tell.
ma'am, in this class, we are gonna practice for the upcoming qualification round.
Correct, yes. Okay, then I think with that, I'll start sharing my screen. And then I'll also try to respond to a couple of questions that were raised. So let's start with the day 3 training. So hello and welcome to day 3 training sessions for Frankenstein tournament. This is obviously going to be the largest sustainability debate. Now, I want you all to quickly absorb the topics for the qualifiers day. Now, I think it has already been told to you that motion for round 1 and 2 is going to be the same. It's likely that you'll have switch sides, which means in first round, if you're proposition, in second round, you're going to be opposition, and vice versa. So if in first round you're opposition, then you become proposition in round 2. Which is why there's only one motion. And the idea is that you need to prepare for both sides, which is proposition and opposition right now, so that you know the moment when draws are given to you on the spot, you can just simply take out the speech and then, okay, so for example, you see the draws and you see, okay, in round 1, your proposition, you'll quickly go, you'll get your proposition speech and deliver it. That's how simple it should be. Which is why for motion, for round 3 as well, you should be prepared for both sides. The reason being you have only 1 hour of prep time, right? Which means it's always great for you to be prepared for both sides. The moment when you get to know your side, for 1 hour, you will only revise, which means you will probably see, okay, how can I make this point better, and so on and so forth. With that, I'll start with explanation to the motion one. So it says this house would aggressively impose an environmental tax on fast fashion companies. Now, what I want you all to do with respect to this motion is to identify all the fast fashion companies' harms towards environment. Because what it basically would do then is going to help you on-site proposition to establish as to why environmental tax is necessary, and then also try to establish as to why environmental tax is likely to reduce the harms of fast fashion companies to begin with. So what you're going to do essentially for both the motions, obviously, is identify a problem, and then the solution that the first motion is trying to propose is to say that, hey, problem is that climate change and like it's impacting climate and so on and so forth. But then the issue is that but then, yeah, so, but then the issue is that, you know, like, so the harm on climate change exists, but then the issue is that, you know what, like the solution that we're trying to propose is environmental tax. Let's impose environmental tax. Now, what is environmental tax again? It's basically a green tax, which is imposed on activities or products that are deemed to have negative impact on the environment. Now, what could be the negative impact? Now, you have to identify these negative impacts as well. So, for example, for some fast fashion companies, it could be like large dumping or large waste disposal, or like not being able to have recyclable or like things which are able to be recycled, like something of that sort. So things like that. So if these are identified as the negative impact on environment, should environmental tax be imposed on them? Now, essentially, what environmental tax is, if you want to understand this, is basically that, you know what, you'll ask them to pay a certain amount of money. Now, what we'll do is basically you go to these industries and you'll say, listen, you have been doing a lot of harm towards these, like towards environment. Let's just do this. If you continue to do this, you'll have to continuously pay, let's say per year, you have to pay a specific amount of money. Now, proposition is saying this should be something that we should do in order to solve the problem of climate change, specifically towards fast fashion companies. Now, opposition could do a couple of things here. The most important thing that opposition has to do here is to establish as to why environmental tax isn't going to solve the problem, which means you're going to have more harms of environmental tax on like different stakeholders that you can identify, for example, towards fast fashion companies, towards economy, towards climate, and so on and so forth. But you can also do another thing. Now, another thing that you can actually do is to establish that, you know what, if climate change exists and climate impact on climate change, exists, the way to solve it probably isn't to go ahead with environmental tax, but something else. So what you can do is you can propose a counter solution. But then, specifically for junior category, what I would basically ask you to do is on proposition, identify all the benefits of environmental tax, that will environmental tax on fast fashion companies. And on opposition, you have to identify all the harms of imposition of environmental tax on fast fashion companies. It's as simple as that. Harms versus benefits. Now, I hope this is clear. If this is clear, can we have a quick thumbs up from all people if you understand motion for round one and round two, which is obviously the same motion. So thumbs up,
Excuse me,
thumbs up,
ma'am.
great. Okay. So if somebody has a question specifically for motion one, then ask me. Otherwise, I'm going to go to motion two. So if it is specifically to motion one, then continue whoever it was. Okay. So
Excuse me, ma'am.
yeah, go ahead.
Actually, I by mistakenly left the meeting. So can you please explain what we have to do if we are in the proposition team?
Yeah, what are you saying? If you're in the
Proposition side.
propositions team. Okay, great. So it's as simple as that. So if you're proposition, you're telling all the benefits of imposition of environmental tax on fast fashion companies. If you're opposition, you would say all the harms of imposition of environmental tax on fast fashion companies. So harms on side proposition, sorry, benefits on side proposition, harms on side opposition. If this is clear, are there any more questions for motion one?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Sudha? Can't hear you if you're speaking.
I didn't need to speak it.
Okay, your hand was raised, so I thought you had a question.
Excuse
Sar.
me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, Shivansh.
Ma'am, actually, I had a doubt that when like we will decide ma'am in last class told us, ma'am, I saw the recording, ma'am, because I was not there. Ma'am, she told us that why the role of like speaker one, speaker two, and speaker three. So ma'am, if we are speaker one has already explained a lot, and that time what we should do? Should we repeat the things or we should
No.
make the points
Okay,
of?
I'll tell you. So what you will do is you will divide points. Now, how division of points essentially works is that let's say if if let's say the team completely has 5 points. So what you would do is you will give 3 points to speaker one and 2 points to speaker two. Now, these points are specific different points, which means you will have different material to cover. Now, what it means is that speaker one will have 3 distinct points. They will explain the entirety of those 3 points. Now, speaker two will go ahead and explain the rest of the 2 points, but also you can basically go ahead and ask questions to your opponent. So, which means that you can be like, hey, opposition said this, but it's untrue. So, you can what you can do is you can engage with your opponent's material. For example, what engagement basically means is, for example, if it's a motion about ice cream is better than milkshake, and then I'm proposition, your opposition. And if I'm a proposition and I'm saying that, listen, ice cream is better than milkshake because you have a lot of flavors in ice cream. So what you can do on opposition is to say that, hey, if you're saying there are a lot of flavors in ice cream, on opposition as well, we have flavors in ice cream, which means when in milkshake, which means your point does not make sense specifically for your side. So that's what you would do in order to engage with your opponent. So your burden is to go ahead and say that the benefit that you're actually talking about also exists in my side, but the harm that you're actually identifying in my side does not actually exist. So you're basically disproving what your opponent said. But specifically for junior category, if you can't rebut, you can't respond, go ahead and specifically just give extra points. So if you want, the second speaker can probably pick up 3 new points and explain on them. But that's what you have to do rather than repeating your first speaker. You don't have to repeat at all.
Ma'am, fine, ma'am.
Yeah.
you're saying like, let's say you have five, right? And like the first speaker gets three and then the second gets two, but aren't there three speakers?
Yes, so the third speaker summarizes everything. So I hope you all have gone through the speaker roles, right? So the third speaker goes ahead and summarizes the entire debate, which means the third speaker is going to explain all the 5 points, briefly, and then is going to tell us to why their side is better than opposition side. So the third speaker has to be comparative. The third speaker is going to compare all the benefits and harms, and then is going to prove as to why their side is better and why you win the debate. So the third speaker is basically telling the judge as to why you win the debate in general. So why you're better than your opponents.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Like for example, your speaker one opposition can like rebuttal some of the speaker one proposition points.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Okay. Ranvijan?
Ma'am, can you tell us the flow of motions on the qualifying day? Do we have to prepare and speak on both the topics?
Yes. So on the qualifying day, so right now you would prepare for all the four sides, which means for motion one, proposition in opposition, for motion two, proposition in opposition. But on the day, you will get to debate on proposition and opposition for motion one. But for motion two, you will get it on the spot, whether you're proposition or opposition, which is when you won't have a lot of time to prepare on the spot, which is why you should prepare for both sides right now.
Okay.
Okay, let's move to motion two then. And what are you supposed to do in proposition and opposition?
Ma'am,
Um, yes, Tobia.
I have a question. It's not
Hmm.
related to the motions, but will we get to go in breakout rooms and discuss with our team?
Okay. So if you're saying breakout room and discussion with your teams, so we're going to have breakout rooms for debates, which means your opponents are also going to be there in your breakout rooms. Now, if you want to discuss with your teams, you could probably get on WhatsApp call or like a Gmeet call with them, like it's your complete choice. But the idea is that you should be discussing all of your points right now. And you should be in complete consonance of what your opponents, what your teammates are running, how, like, what are the division of points and so on and so forth. So your strategy should be something that you should be deciding right now, as opposed to the day as in the first place. But also, obviously, you should be on call with each other on the days.
Excuse me,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah, Shivansh.
Ma'am, like when we say proud to oppose or proud to propose, so ma'am, we have like only speaker three has to speak it, or speaker one and two also have also to speak it.
So proud to propose is basically a formality, which you basically say at the end of your speech. Now, all speakers technically have to do it, but then you don't have extra points or like reduction of points if you don't do it. So proud to propose,
So
yeah,
if all of the speaker does it, then it's better.
yeah. I mean, good for you all.
Oh yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Great. Okay. Cool. Then let's finally move to motion two. So it says this house, as animal rights activists, would prioritize highlighting environmental impacts of meat consumption, as opposed to invoking empathy for animals. Now, there are two things here that you're trying to establish, right? The first thing says that, you know what, in order to probably, so what do environmental rights activists actually want? They want awareness for people. They want to do something for the climate. They want to establish that, you know what, this entire food cycle has to be preserved. Ecosystem has to be preserved. The fact that, you know, we have a lot of animal slaughtering, that's basically abuse of animals, and so on and so forth. So we're basically trying to create awareness so people stop or reduce consumption of meat. That's their aim. Now, if that's their aim, should they rather go ahead and say that, listen, what, you know, you should stop consumption of meat because it's bad for your health? That's proposition. Or they should go ahead and say that, listen, the reason as to why you should not consume meat, or you should reduce consumption of meat, is because, you know what, animals are so nice. You should probably have empathy and sympathy for them, which means, you know what, can you get, like, do you realize how much pain you're probably causing to them whenever you're probably slaughtering them? The amount of pain that you're causing to a mother who is being separated from like the child which has just been slaughtered, and so on and so forth. So the idea is that on proposition, you're establishing that, you know, as environmental rights activists, you should go ahead and highlight all the negative environmental impacts of meat consumption. And on opposition, you would say, you know what, this won't help. What actually is going to help is you going ahead and creating empathy for animals. Now, the outcome of both sides is to prove that, with either of the strategies, you should reach the end goal that, people should stop eating meat or should reduce consumption of meat. Now, if the end goal is that, which side are you better going to be able to achieve it? That's the debate. So, is it side proposition or side opposition?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, like you said that they feel a lot of pain, ma'am. But then the opposition will have the answer that the plants we cut, they are also get pain. So, ma'am, what can we rebut in that point?
Okay, I couldn't hear the last question. Could you repeat?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, like you said that the animals, mothers, they feel the like animal mothers feel pain when their child is separated, and the child also feels pain. So, ma'am, in that like in that answer, they will say that animals also like plants also have life like animals, and they also feel pain. So, ma'am, what can be rebut in this point for them?
What are you saying? Animal?
I'm like, plants also feel pain when we cut them.
No, that's not true. So that's not true, right? I mean, like there's a proper difference between both of them. Like, the amount of pain and like stimulus that plants probably have is different from what animals feel. So I think it's different. But at the end of the day, like you have to consume something over the other. So you would try to reduce pain for people. At that point of time, you should probably reduce eating animals.
Ma'am,
Okay.
I have a question. I don't
Yes.
exactly understand what's the opposition for the motion of round 3.
Okay. So I hope you understand that the end goal for both sides is to make sure that. So let's find out this, okay? What's the end goal? What are you trying to prove and what should happen? You're trying to say that, listen, people should stop eating meat or should reduce consumption of meat. Will it happen better by the strategy of highlighting negative impacts of environment? Or will it happen better by you telling people that, by invoking empathy for animals? So on opposition, you're telling benefits of invoking empathy for animals towards animals rights in general. So what are the benefits of invoking empathy for animals?
Like in proposition, we have to tell that we have to tell people that you have to reduce meat consumption by telling it is unhealthy, and in
Yeah,
opposition,
correct.
we have to tell them to stop eating meat, as telling them the animal's feeling. How
Correct.
it
Yeah, that's exactly what you're supposed to. Okay, Javik.
I just wanted to say I don't understand like when do we use propose?
Proud to propose or proud to oppose? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know who told you in this in the first place, but proud to propose is some just a line that you end your speech with. So, whichever speaker you are, if your proposition, you would end your speech by proud to propose. Thank you. If your opposition, you can end your speech by saying proud to oppose. Thank you. That's how you do it.
Okay, I get it.
Okay. Great. Then I think motion should be clear. Then let's move towards practice. Are we good to
Like,
practice
ma'am,
now?
I have a question.
Yes, Alika.
For the second motion, if you're in opposition, you have to say like why you should use this strategy to convince people um over the other strategy, or do you have to say
Correct.
why?
Yes, so you're saying why this strategy of invoking empathy for animals is better than the strategy of
No, I mean
telling people that meat is
for
unhealthy.
I mean for four.
Oh, for four, you would say why the strategy of I try to highlight it actually. Wait,
Why is better than the other?
correct. Wait. So you would say I'm pretty bad at this. So you would say this on side prop And then you would say,
Mr. Ma'am, can't hear you. Your connection, your voice is breaking.
and then you would say this on side of.
Yeah, I mean for four, you have to say why this is better than the other,
Correct.
and not list down the reasons while meat consumption is affects the environment, right?
Yes, why this strategy is better than the other and benefits of the strategy over the other. So you would tell two things. One, that you know what, when you basically highlight environmental impacts of meat consumption, these are the benefits, but these benefits are better than the benefit that you get from invoking an empathy for animals. I hope that makes sense.
Okay.
When we are saying about preparation, about when we are saying in favor, can we like speak that like about the species of the animals, as it says environmental impacts. So like, can we also tell about the species?
Yes, so highlighting environmental impacts of meat consumption could also be, you know, like the impacts on species. So yes, you can do that as well.
Ma'am, so it's only about the meat consumption and we can't talk about the other effects on what we do to animals, right?
Okay.
Like we
So
also use animal parts like ivory and all.
I understand, but you see, like the oh, that's a very good argument. So do you understand that what you're saying is only going to be helpful inside opposition, because inside proposition, it's only talking about meat consumption. So on opposition, you're probably doing like one step ahead, and you're probably also prohibiting things like ivory and like general I mean, like probably breeding them for leather and whatnot. But on proposition, you're only reducing meat consumption. So you can use it on opposition.
Yeah, so if we get opposition, can we use those as points?
Correct. Yes, you can. But try to focus on meat consumption specifically, because a lot of points for your proposition are going to talk about meat consumption, and then the judge could probably give that point to them, and then they'll be like, you're responding to what proposition is saying. So try to also highlight why meat consumption is going to be lesser in your side.
Ma'am, can we also highlight about poaching? Like poachers.
Can we highlight about?
Ma'am, poachers, like they hunt animals illegally and then sell them like in Bangladesh and these all countries.
Couldn't hear what?
Ma'am, people hunt animals illegally and then sell them in the like import them or export them from the country. And these all, can we highlight about that also, that
So the way how to highlight that is going to be to say that, what, in either side, where do you think this is going to be lesser? So where do you think illegal, um, such illegal activities are going to be lesser? A place where you highlight environmental impacts for meat consumption, or a place where you're invoking in empathy for animals. So think about that and then use it.
ma'am, in opposition we will say, ma'am, because
Correct, you're right.
we are opposing that meat consumption 1 point.
Correct. Okay. Let's go to motions then. Motions. Okay, let's go to the motions. I mean, these are just practice motions. So what you're supposed to do is essentially share your points in the chat box so I can read them, and I'll probably pick out some people to also tell me some points as well. So, 2 minutes for you all to absorb this motion. The motion is, should students have homework in primary schools? Now, what it basically means is, if your side proposition, you would say children should have homework in primary schools. If your opposition, you would say no, children should not have homework in primary school. Now, you don't have a choice right now, which means you don't get to choose whether you would take proposition or opposition. I will give you a side, and then you have to tell me points for that. Now, I will right now tell you that you are all proposition. So tell me why children should have homework in primary school. In chat box, quickly. Tell me points for why children should have homework in primary school. Now, this is just for you all to understand how to make arguments, make points. This is just a mock practice motion. Your actual motion is this. So don't confuse both of them. Your actual motions are this. Okay. Cool then. If this is the motion, I can see somebody said, you know what, we need to give them homework because it helps them. Okay, couple of points. It says it helps them learn. It helps them stay prepared. It So they have a early working habit. Great. Then it keeps them busy at home. They can do recap. They can practice. It is time consuming. Now, time consuming is again opposition's point, but if you can explain why time consuming, if it's a side proposition, we could probably.
Ma'am, so I think it helps because you need to remember, and also it helps you learn, because if you just learn at school, it's not enough.
Yes. So what I want
Excuse
from
me,
you all.
ma'am.
Okay, wait, Varnika. I will give chance. I will tell when to speak. So I see these are just points. Now these are just headings for your output. Now, I don't know why, let's say, for example, Jasmeer says, you know, it helps them development or it helps them develop. I don't know why that's true. So what you're supposed to do is after you have identified the point, you need to explain it and then give an example for why it helps them develop. Now, can someone tell me as to why homework helps students develop?
Excuse me, ma'am.
No, excuse me, just answer my questions with your hands raised.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, I can see Sarthak. Go on.
The homework helps children develop with the if you have homework in the primary school, you have an early working habit, so it develops your brain to become hardworking. And ma'am, homework also helps you recap what you learned in the school.
Okay, you just gave me explanation to other points. I'm just not asking you to tell me other points. Tell me specifically why homework helps you develop.
I have a question.
Ma'am, it helps in development as it challenges our brain after school. So it challenges our brain to remember what we learned today.
Yes, that's fine.
Ma'am,
Okay. So
so
once you're done
I
with
have
explaining why it helps them develop, you would then go ahead and give an example. So can anyone give me an example for how homework helps students develop? Satvik, go on.
Ma'am, they know what their doubts are. They ask to the teacher. They do the work better. And next time in the homework, they don't do that much mistakes that they did earlier.
Great. Javik, that's a good point. Like this point. Irina said if children have homework in primary school, then they will have practice for higher grades and they will be independent. That's great. So how else you should explain it is also to say that in higher grades you have much more burden of homework, which means that if right now you're being habituated with homework, it's likely for you to not get extremely burdened, and you will basically be able to tackle all of that. Yes, Sudha, what's your question?
Ma'am, so in the actual debate, we'll only get 3 minutes, and we have to say at least 5 points, and we also have to explain. So how can we do it in 3 minutes?
No, Siddha, you're only supposed to. So remember, I told you as a team you should have 5 points, and this was just an example. You can also have 6 points as a team. Now, what it means is the first speaker who has 3 minutes will explain 3 points in 3 minutes, which you can obviously do. The second speaker will have 3 minutes to explain the rest of the 2 points. So that's what I meant.
Okay.
Okay, Shivika, that's a good explanation. Reading, writing, listening skills are improved. Great. Now I will ask for another explanation, and I will basically pick and choose again. If you have the answer, you can go ahead. Somebody says, homework helps you revise. How does homework help you revise? Ridansh. Ridansh?
One. Ma'am, one of the first points is the benefit of having homework allows the students and the teachers to work closely together. Any difficulties or confusions that the students face personally, they can discuss it before, during, or after the class.
Okay, that's a great point. But I was asking you how, when homework is given to you, you are able to revise. So give me explanation with that. Does anyone else have an explanation to this? Let's see.
Ma'am, I have.
Ma'am,
Okay,
we
Ma'am, I
read
have.
that topic
Varnika.
and we do the questions together.
Varnika?
Ma'am, it helps the children to revise the topics done in class, and it because it makes their understanding better. And when the next day teachers ask for a recap, so the students are able to participate in it and answer more better.
So the idea is that, whenever something has been taught to you in school, the homework that is given to you is similar to the concept that has been given to you in school, which means you can go back, you can revise, but you can also understand whether or not you understood the point that was being taught to you in school, which is why you're more likely to go ahead and try to like put in effort in order to know and revise what has already been taught. Oftentimes you're given like questions, you're also given like something to remember. So this acts as a good way of, revising small topics in like good amount of time so that you, when exams actually come, you are not extremely burdened. Okay. So I think a lot has happened for that proposition. Can anyone tell me why we shouldn't have homework in the chat box really quick? So what I want from you is three things. What is the heading of your argument, your explanation, and then an example? So it shouldn't just be like, heading and like no explanation. I want all three of them. So tell me why homework should not be given and what is the explanation to that, and then give me an example for that as well. Tanya?
Ma'am,
So, the heading is children should not have homework in primary school, and the reason is because
No. That's not a head. No, that's not a heading because that's your stance inside opposition. Your heading is going to be the argument that you will run. So what were you going to say?
because like they should also like have sports. They have like their own life.
So
They need
your argument heading is that it so students should not have homework because it allows them to focus on extracurriculars. That's the heading of your argument. Then you will explain the benefits of extracurriculars like sports. Go on now.
so they can do sports. They can do more physical activities.
Mhm.
Like they can read, but
Mhm.
doing physical activities is also helpful because then they're also like then they have like freedom to do things.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So they have the ability to choose what they want to do because if they have homework, they're just completely like piled up with that. And only thing that is in their head is like, I have to finish my homework tomorrow. Good job, Tanya. Can we have another person? So somebody's saying it's a wastage of time, and then somebody's saying it utilizes a lot of time. So a lot of people are saying that it's wastage of time. So how would you actually establish that in a debate? You would say homework should not be given because it's wasted of time. Then you will explain it the way how Ridansh has. Kids spend 5 to 6 hours doing it and miss out on sports and other activities. Other thing
ma'am,
that
can
we
I tell?
the issue with that is to say that are you actually wasting time because you're probably learning as well. So you'd have to explain by your speech that what children are probably not learning anything. How would you explain it? You would explain it by saying that what a lot of people probably just use internet, chat, GPT, or like other tools, guides to do their homework, which means at the end of the day, they're just wasting their time writing something continuously without even understanding it, which means it's just complete waste of time, no development, no improvement whatsoever. So that's how you would establish it.
Ma'am, what do you mean by example?
Oh, example means you would give an illustration or a statistic. So I will give you I'll give you an argument and then I'll tell you how to find example for that. So I can see, let me use something from your okay. Wait. So I'm going to show you my argument that I was going to run, and then I'll give you a thing to do. So these arguments says, you know what, homework helps you improve learning, increases time management, practice clear concepts, prepares them for future. Teachers can help in areas of improvement. Parents can keep a check on progress of child, obviously, because you have more control over what your children are doing, etc. This argument for opposition says that children should not have homework because it gives them stress. Can now, in order to, so you will explain as to why it gives them stress, because you know they're piled up, they're always in a stress to complete their homework. But also, you know, I have had my, like, you know, small, like I've seen small kids actually not even being able to eat, simply because, you know, they have the stress that, you know what, I have to complete the homework and I have a lot of homework piled up. But also a lot of people have, you know, are very scared of their teachers. You know, what if I don't submit this homework, my teacher is going to scold me and whatnot. So in order to establish this with an example, I would go Google how many people or how many students suffer from stress due to homework. Now, can you Google that for me and tell me as to what you find? Quickly,
Ma'am,
Google how.
I just have two additional points. It's not only that it gives stress, but some people also don't need homework. They understand fully, and it's just like too much extra practice for them. Like some kids don't who understand well, will just be like doing the same thing over and over again.
I also
Correct.
have another point
Okay, I
that
don't want
ma'am
other
said
points right now,
more than
guys.
70%.
Okay, I want you all.
Ma'am, more than 70%.
Great, Satvik. Thank you so much. Good job, Satvik, for listening and doing
Ma'am,
this.
so that will be an example, right?
Yes. So what you
Like a
would do?
statistic or a fact.
Yes, correct. So what you would do is you would say, you know what, homework gives people stress. And then you will give an explanation to why homework gives them stress. And then you can give them an example that more than 70% people actually suffer from stress due to homework. This is your example. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Parents also give like work to their children because they see school isn't enough, but then they also get homework. So they have to do homework, schoolwork, and the work that they get from home.
Correct. Yeah, that's true. So it's like
Excuse
overburdening.
me,
That's
ma'am.
true.
I have a doubt.
Okay.
Ma'am, like, can we, like, when we are in the support, like when we are in the opposition, we could also say that parents also like give burden. Parents
Yeah.
force them to do their homework still, but for their like mm, benefit, but still they scold them a lot.
Yeah, that's true. So like it also gives them an avenue to scold them, right?
Ma'am,
Like
like
a
that,
reason, a
ma'am,
more.
that did on a very high level could also lead to mental disorder.
Correct. Yeah, that's true.
Now, most
Okay.
of the time, homework is given by teachers to check how much the child knows, and if they don't know, if they don't understand something, the teacher may help them. But if a child takes it home, it can and so the teacher will not know that the teacher will not know that they need help, so they'll just fail because in the
Correct.
actual
Just
classwork
useless. Yeah.
there will be no one to help them.
Correct. Yes. So in order to establish that, can you find it? How many students actually use guides and chat GPT to do their homework? Let's find this. How many people actually use guides and like other tools to finish their homework?
Ma'am, they drain the resources because many parents go to offices and they can't help their children in doing work, so they put them into coaching classes, and that should
You know,
be
coaching
very
classes are still okay.
expensive.
Coaching classes are still okay because you're still learning at the end of the day. I'm asking about these two.
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
teachers
30%.
also Ma'am, but
But it's
teachers also
3%.
tell the students not to take courses or tuitions because their methods might be different,
That's true
the
as well.
tuition method. So then the teachers will still put the child's methods wrong because it's not what they taught them.
That's true as well. Correct.
And students use AI tools.
Yes. How many percent?
40.
43, ma'am, 43.
Yeah,
Wow,
ma'am, it's
great.
43.
So how the way how you would say it is that around 40%, and then you would say this means that it's completely useless 40% of people, which means they never understand, they're never reporting to the teacher that they're not understanding, which means again they're not learning at the end of the day. Let's move to the next topic. The next topic is it better to learn from
And
books?
this is also a type of homework only, and still we have used AI tools for it.
It's better to learn from books because books don't strain your eyes and it's also you understand better.
Okay, wait,
In
wait, 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 wait,
tools,
wait,
there are
wait. So we're gonna play a game, okay? Now this game is going to be, how many teams do we have? Like, what are the numbers of teams? Let me see. It's 25. Oh, it's very less number of people. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so it's going to be me versus you, which means I will show you a bunch of like points that I think are true for side proposition. Now, me versus you means that any of you can choose to rebut me. Now, rebut basically means you have to prove me wrong, okay? So I'm going to show you a bunch of like points, and
Are
then
we allowed
any
to Google? Are we allowed to Google?
no.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm not expecting examples from you. I'm just explaining. I'm just expecting reasoning. I'm going to show you a bunch of like points. Now, the way how it will work is that you'll raise your hand if you have a rebuttal for any of the points. Now, if you do, I will pick you. And then you will tell me, okay, ma'am, I have a rebuttal for point number 2, and this is my rebuttal. Okay. So let's do this. So is it better to learn from books or from internet? I say it is better to learn from books because of these reasons. The first point is that book creates habit of reading and learning. The second point is books are credible sources of knowledge and information. The third point is books do not require internet or online access. You can remotely access. Fourth point is online has a lot of distraction, which means books basically don't have a lot of distraction, which is better for you. Fifth point is books can be made interesting via pictures and graphs. Last is in-depth knowledge through specialized books can only be seen through books and not through internet. So if anyone has a response to any of this, please raise your hand. I can see
I
Jerry.
have one.
Jerry,
I have a
So,
response.
I just wanted to say that it's not always in-depth knowledge. I mean, you can literally search it on the internet. It has multiple websites. If you wanted to check about what happens if you eat too much junk food, you would probably read a book. But on the internet, you can actually check many sites. Any of them, most of them are credible, like WHO and American Heart Association, like that.
Okay, I
Points
like how you
just
responded to two of
similar
my
to
points.
this.
So okay, I will pick. Please do not speak out of turn. So I think Javik responded to two of my points, which is to say that internet can also be credible, but also to say that you know what, you probably would not have in-depth knowledge of specialized book. Good job, Javik. Next up, Varnika.
Ma'am, through the internet, we can quickly access the knowledge we need, even though we might not have the book for that. So we can just quickly access the internet and we can get information about everything we need to know.
But which point are you responding to?
Ma'am, the third point.
Okay, but the third point is about to say is saying that you know what, you don't need internet to use books, but you're saying it's easy to use.
No,
Ma'am, I
I'm
want
saying that like there's a website called Wikipedia. So on that we
Yes.
can get knowledge about everything.
But you would need internet to use that. So my point still stands.
ma'am.
Yes, so I'm saying that internet is better than books.
But I'm saying that at the times when you won't have access to internet, what would you do?
But we might not even have the book for that, right?
Ma'am, we can download the
So
books.
example is when you're on flight,
Ma'am, we
you
can
have
download
access
the
to
books.
That's good. No,
Ma'am,
but
I have
okay, that's still a good point that you can download books. But how many books would you download? But then that's
Ma'am, you can't have a book all the time. Like when you, if you need to search on a specific topic at a specific time, you can't just go buy the book. If you
that's a
have,
good point. Yes.
most people have online resources, at least they have phones, like they can just search it quickly and get it. They can't just take time to look for a book or order a book, and then it'll
Correct.
take at least 2 days to order from Amazon.
That is one point, and also books are hefty, right? Like a lot of times you have like big books. How will you carry them? So they're also inconvenient at
I
times.
know. I have another.
Okay, wait. I want people who are just raising their hands and not speaking out of turn. Vedan.
I was saying that the things that we find on internet are not 100% accurate.
Correct, but you're supporting my point.
Ma'am.
That's it.
So I wanted to rebut for the fifth one that books can be made interesting via pictures and graphs, but we can also find pictures and graphs online.
And you can have moving pictures online, like you know
Yeah.
how 3D
Yeah,
images.
videos.
Man, you
Good
can
job,
have
good
videos.
rebuttal.
Man, they can be interactive.
Yes, that's true as well. That's also a good rebuttal. Okay, what else? Tanya.
Actually, I wanted to say like the online picture thing for the fifth.
Okay, great. Okay, I can see who else is there. Just a second.
5 मिनट ऐसी
Sudha?
बात करते हैं फिर इसके बाद फिर लगा रही हूँ
Sudha?
Yeah, so ma'am, in online also, if you want to
अरे
search
काम
various
कर
things
समर
and
के कमरे
store
की खिड़कियां
them, you
खोल दे
can
थोड़ी
store
देर
data,
आधा
like
घंटा
you can search anything and you can open a new slide. But in books, like you'll need various books. You can't just search anything, keep it, search another topic. It's not like that. You will have to get various books. But in online, you can just use one object, like one laptop, and search for many things. Go to a different slide. But in books, you'll have to get new books. The
Great.
same book might not have everything you want in it.
Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Shivansh, no speaking of order. Javik.
Yeah, so I also wanted to say that same thing. When you have like a mini phone, it's about like this, the size is just this. And if you take like 100 books, it's gonna like fill up the whole room I'm in or something. But if you just want to check like 100 websites, you can just do that in one phone, not reading books, and it's super easy. It doesn't acquire a lot of space.
Okay. Divya? I want another point. Like I want other points. Like I don't want repetitions. Divya?
Basically, when you read books, you can imagine things the way you want to imagine them. But when you're like seeing from internet or something, the answer is given exactly, so it's a bit more accurate.
Okay. Okay,
Ma'am,
Alina.
internet is always up to date.
Okay, so how would you explain that? Which point is it responding? Second point.
Ma'am,
Yes, Alina.
and I'd like to point one.
Okay.
Yes, books also create habits of reading and learning, but internet also creates habits. Books, you have to go through many books to find the exact book you want, but internet, you can just Google something and it'll come right up. That also creates habits of learning because it's way easier.
That's true. Okay. Shivansh.
Yes, ma'am. I disagree with the point that you said, and ma'am, in the opposition, now I would like to say that when we search online, ma'am, the books we need now comes with a scan or like a website, we can download books, which can lead. And now sometimes when we take books, it's a lot much heavy, and ma'am, it can lead to injuries and back pain.
Okay. Ridansh, I specifically want response to online has a lot of distractions. So can you explain that?
Ma'am,
Like, can anyone respond to that? And if yes, keep your hands raised, otherwise keep it down. Ridansh, do you have a response to this? Okay, I see it's probably by mistake. Tanya?
Ma'am, like there are not many distractions because there are also ways that like you can like if you mean like ads or something on books
Yeah.
that so you there are also ways to like cut them out like on YouTube there's a YouTube premium where you can cut out, so there are also things like that for book websites.
And
So
you can
that
also block a lot of ads if you want to.
yeah, you can also block ads.
Then a lot of distractions actually happen. So there are also child protection and child like locks that you could probably put so that like you're not seeing unnecessary ads. That's also there. Okay. Which other point is left? I think you guys have actually responded to most of my points. Is there anyone who has specifically a
ma'am,
different
I
point?
have one.
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Yeah. Okay, so
Ma'am, so it's actually not there, but online is actually cheaper because like when you need to search something on books you may not have all the books and you may have to like buy a new book if you actually really need it, but if you need something online you can easily buy one phone or one laptop and it'll last for many years, but books they can easily get mm, destroyed very easily. You can just rip a page. Online can also get destroyed, but not that easily.
correct, good point. But again, it wasn't point made here. But like good.
Yeah.
Satvik.
Ma'am, actually, books also have many distractions. Like we have to find a space there where there is no noise. And I have sometimes read an ad on the cover of the book, so they distract me. This thing is nice. Can I order this like this?
Also like I mean the idea about distraction is that how much attention span do you have with the book, but then oftentimes books are so boring that you don't even want to read them. So like again you have distraction from the world if not from the book, right?
While reading, we tend to sleep or we.
Okay, I think that's pretty much it. So the arguments for opposition that I had was that books are boring, they do not have graphics, books may have many editions, it is
Ma'am,
difficult
can you?
access them. Then books can be accessed online, for example, Kindle. Books can get hefty, hence inconvenient. Online platforms are interactive and help students learn. Internet is widely accessible, which means easy to use and obviously cheaper to use. That was the argument that I had. But yeah, if you have any more questions related to the tournament or anything for that matter, please ask me right now. But that's the training session for today.